Are you downsizing? Maybe need more room because of additions to the family, or possibly seeking that dream home you've always wanted? Well, Tim Eisner at Royal LePage Atlantic is the guy for you. With a proven track record and multiple awards, Tim goes above and beyond to find out your needs and exactly what you're looking for. So if you're seeking a new home or trying to sell your current one, contact Tim at 902-499-5717 or check him out on Facebook at Tim Eisner. Again, that's 902-499-5717. Trust me, when all is said and done, we'll be saying Tim Eisner strikes again. Hey, what is going on? Hope everyone had a fantastic weekend. Welcome to episode 101 of Outside the Chute. I'm your host, Randy Frame. This week's OTC Player of the Week comes to us from the Impact Gold 2K9 national team as Macy Bryant takes home the weekly honors. Macy went 6-0 last weekend at the Colorado 4th of July tournament, throwing 34 in the third innings with 60 strikeouts and only 2 earned runs. That's just ridiculous, Macy. Awesome job and best of luck the rest of the season. On to this week's guest, and we sat down and chatted with ISC and Softball New Zealand Hall of Famer, one of the greats in our game, Patrick Shannon. Paddy has had a spectacular career to date as he's won 4 ISC World Titles, 2 WBSC Titles, been named to 10 ISC All World Teams, as well as previously mentioned, inducted into both the ISC and Softball New Zealand Hall of Fames. We're going to talk to Paddy about getting a start in the game down in New Zealand, his very well-known batting stance and how that all came about, his time on the ISC circuit, what it was like winning 2 WBSC titles on home soil, and much, much more. Paddy was an absolute pleasure to chat with, and both Hopey and myself are excited to see him back in the ISC this summer, playing with the Niagara Stompers out of Ontario. Hopefully you can grab an 11th All-World Team in their selection there, Paddy. Best of luck, pal. So as usual, grab that drink, sit back, relax, because here we go.
I got the world in my palm, like camera action, it's on. I can't describe what I'm feeling, ain't never felt this freedom. I got the world in my palm, like camera action, it's on. Ain't never felt this freedom. Could you say that anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes, anything goes.
Hopey.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
It's been a while.
Yeah, how you been?
Good, man.
Excellent. You get your haircut, I see.
I did. Had to do something.
Some pitching stats.
Change something up here. Sick and tired of getting home runs hit off me every game.
Gotcha.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
That's what it is. Still having fun playing. That's the main thing.
That's the main thing, Randy.
That's how I'm looking at it now.
Yeah.
Actually, the funny thing, I was looking back. We haven't done a podcast together since when we recorded Hilly and Lollies, which was our last episode that we released.
Holy shit.
Which we recorded the 1st of June. So it's been over a month.
It's been over a month. Yeah. God, that's crazy.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I've seen you 1,000 times, but I just haven't done any podcasts.
True. Anyway.
Shout out to Mark Smith today.
Absolutely. On
his Hall of Fame induction as in the coaches category in the WBSC Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Smitty. That's huge news.
Unreal.
Huge Maritimer, Nova Scotia guy. Yeah, fantastic. Congratulations.
Yeah. After a bronze medal at the Olympics last year. Good way to cap it off.
Absolutely. Yeah. I had the luxury of playing with Smitty a long time ago and playing against him a lot. And he's a true leader. That guy was a machine, man.
Throw bullets.
Yeah, it's funny. Jeff Frazier and I last week, Jeff sent me a video of Smitty pitching in, I think it was 1984, 1985. He was pitching for like an all-star Can-Am something all-star thing.
Down in New Zealand.
Yeah, against New Zealand. Yep. And we were just looking at his drop ball and how, in fact, it absolutely, when they say drop off the table, it fell off the fucking table. Like, unbelievable. Still don't know how that went like that.
And
like,
I think
it's crazy.
weren't they using 2 feet in the rubber back then as well?
Geez, I'm trying
to remember.
I know they were wearing hats at the plate instead of helmets.
I know. Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Smitty was actually out with Brody last week working on some pitching stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, so
I was talking to Jeff about it.
Smitty's still giving back. He's a great guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Fantastic.
Maritime League, we had a big weekend last weekend in Charlottetown. Unfortunately, I couldn't make it, but boys had a good weekend. Yeah, it was good. Again, good to get out and play in different venues. Of course, it's always the best to get to PEI. PEI, they ran a good tournament. It was fantastic. Hooder was great. Got to see some older guys. Jamie McDonald was there, and Waddy, and nice.
Bish, and God, there was a lot of them there that we just got to chat with. They didn't play. Chris Craig did play though. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good to see Craig back.
Yeah. Our team actually. It's funny. We had a conversation about this with Jeff, because Jeff coaches the Canada Games team, of course, and he said that it's very apparent that we're starting to become more of a senior team with getting more at bats because we're hitting pitchers' mistakes.
Right.
Where in the past they might, slide that one on the outside half out by us type thing, where we're actually hitting the ball. Yeah, I think we scored 45 runs in the 5 games.
Man.
So the guys are really hitting the ball.
It's good to see.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It was good. And they all brought their families for the most part.
Yeah, saw that.
So it was kind of a family atmosphere, kind of creating the culture of the Mastodons.
Exactly what we want.
Yeah. No, it was really good. Yeah, it was very good to get away.
For sure. And we got Tide Fest coming up, not this weekend after, which is the Graham Eisner Memorial Tournament that we're putting on. We have Chute, Brookfield, Halifax, Canada Games team, and the McMackey Fast Pitch team.
Yes.
Yeah. So there's going to be some great action there here in Lance, and I'm really excited to get that going. Because
I'm as well. Tide Fest to me, I told you before, is like Christmas to me. I absolutely love Tide Fest. Fun. Everybody comes home for it, and it's come home week, I guess it's what they call it. But they put on a great show for us at the Tide Fest actual, not the tournament. I'm speaking of the actual festivities, and for us to add in the ball side of it. We're a very huge ball-minded community, and they are supporting us through Tide Fest for this tournament. And we're very excited about running the whole program. Yeah, and being Graham Eisner Memorial Tournament. Graham was, of course, a big part or pillar of our community as far as fast pitch went, and still goes. And his daughter Joanne is going to throw out the first pitch, which is nice. And his wife and daughter Joanne are going to hand out the trophy in the end. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, we're very excited about it.
Yeah, and this is our first year doing it. Yep. Of course, we're looking at making this an annual event.
Yep.
And hopefully, it gets bigger and as the years go on.
For sure.
And that's the thing. Just keep trying to grow the game.
That's our goal. No, you know what? Maybe someday it becomes an ISC qualifier. Who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know.
I certainly would like that to happen.
We got another Kiwi coming on today.
My goodness, yes.
Yeah. Paddy Shannon.
Not a bad one. Big
name in the game.
Absolutely.
It's funny. One thing, doing my research for Paddy, one thing I come across, and I want to ask him about his batting stance.
Yeah.
That wide open batting stance. Yeah. I want to know, when did he adapt that?
Or did he mock it from someone perhaps?
I don't know.
We'll have to ask that question.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's something. And he's a huge part of the Game New Zealand Hall of Famer, ISC Hall of Famer. So now he's on with the coaching staff with New Zealand, and of course they're hosting WBSCs here in end of November, and we'll get hear the ins and outs of Paddy's career.
Absolutely, yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, so
looking forward to it.
Listen, why don't we get to it?
Okay, sounds good.
Yo. All right, here we go. Paddy, thanks so much for coming on the podcast.
Oh, awesome. Thanks. I'm happy to be a part of it.
How's things going up in Ontario today?
Oh, no, not too bad. Actually, had a few games last night. Got the other Kiwi boys that I called over here to get some swings in, because we actually had last week off, and we got this weekend off as well. So a little bit of free time.
Yeah, that's nice.
Well, I got to get this out of the way. The fact you're in Ontario right now may be a shock to a lot of our listeners, because I know what's going on. We thought you were in retirement.
Yeah, I was actually. That's what I thought too. I finished up in 2013 in New Zealand after the World Series, the ISS, and then that's it. I had chose to take time and walk away from the sport, and then a few years passed, and I got a phone call saying I was getting inducted to the ISC Hall of Fame, which was awesome, out of the blue and stuff. So I thought, that's a nice phone call to receive, and so then that kind of started the wheels rolling of me getting organised to come over. And then the team that I'm with now, actually, through Larry Lynch, who's one of my very close friends, probably best softball friend that I have overseas, said that the team would be happy to bring me over. And I said, oh, no, I don't need to. I was actually happy to come over and come for the induction, except on my own. But then they really were keen to bring me over and let me help their team a little bit. So I agreed to it. But one condition was, can you play a little bit? I'm like, oh, wow. And I already kind of said yes. So I thought, oh, well, I suppose I have to go through with it. So, come over and played the ISC for them. And then in a tournament or two before that actually went quite well, which was a nice surprise for myself. And then from there, kind of got drawn back into the web of softball again.
Fantastic.
That's awesome.
It's a nice web.
That's awesome. Actually, I got a funny story. One of our players here with the Mastodons, he plays with the Waterdown Hammer up there, and he come back there a couple weeks ago after he was I forget
ISC qualifier.
I think it was a qualifier up there, and he was playing against you guys, and apparently he after his first at bat, he come back to the dugout and said to the guys, who the hell is the catcher? He won't shut the hell up. Like, and they were like, that's Paddy Shannon. He's like, huh? ISC Hall of Famer Patrick Shannon. And he's like, oh. So,
he's a young guy.
Yeah, probably didn't I don't know who this guy is. All he does is talk a lot and that's funny. That's probably what he got from it.
Oh, God. Yeah, I had a good laugh over that. That cracked me up. So do you talk a lot behind the plate? I mean, I heard stories that you did.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm quite chatty. I like to trying to just get immersed in the game that I'm playing, just like anything else I do. A lot of people say that I'm a good talker. Yeah. I don't know if it's a compliment or not, but I kind of just get a feel for the game, and it's helpful. Like when I used to play full time all the time, that you know everyone that you're playing against. So it was just another weekend. You catch up,
absolutely.
You go to war against each other, and then because if you got to make the most and enjoy anything that you're doing. Geez, and to come all this way from New Zealand to play softball, you're not just going to stay in your shell and not get immersed in it and stuff.
Yeah, that's a great attitude, actually. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I feel like we have so much to cover in this episode. So, I mean, let's go right back to the beginning. Tell us about getting your start in the game down in New Zealand, Paddy.
Oh, geez. Like normal, I had my family played softball. My uncle, well, both my uncles on my mother's side, they played softball representative, and one of my uncles, Mike Forsyth, he actually played for New Zealand himself as a catcher in the '76 World Series.
Wow. Which
they won in a 3-way tie. Yeah. So, and then from there, he started coaching, and he coached a lot of the provincial teams and the big club teams. And then from there, obviously, me and my brother and our other cousins and nephews, we all got kind of pulled into the old softball family sport. And then from there, it was just kind of in your blood. You're not sure if it chose you or you chose it, but if it just becomes part of your life with your family, then like other sports and other codes, it just becomes part of what you do. And then that's it. You're in it.
Love it.
So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I'm guessing becoming a catcher, was due to the fact that your brother Heine was a pitcher.
Yeah, and because he didn't want to catch. And someone had to, so then I got stuck with it. I didn't plan on, I don't know, catching is a hard one. It's not like you choose to be a catcher.
No.
That's the last. Everyone wants to be a pitcher or a shortstop,
Yeah.
And then, all I did, we just threw together. So I just became the catcher and his catcher, and then we played in teams together. So I was always a catcher. So then in the end, before I knew it, I was a catcher. So and then I didn't want to leave it because I kind of got comfortable doing it. So it's one of those, make the most of it, or else, why not? It's if I could be good at it and own it. And I didn't expect how far you go, but since we played it so much and involved, it just becomes who you are, And now I can't play any other position anyway, let alone at this age play anything else too. So,
yeah, really. Now, of course, like you and Heine are twins, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So I mean, it's funny. There's been a couple, brother catching combos like the O'Briens, of course. Yeah. And I mean, it seems like there's always that chemistry. Did you guys have that chemistry right off the get go?
Oh yeah. We're actually identical twins, and he's actually a minute older. So our chemistry stems from who's arguing the most with each other. It's the honesty that gets it, which does help. A lot of people used to think is that a plus or like a secret weapon? It kind of not like the secret weapon is a funny way or candid way of saying it, but yeah, it is. If you're comfortable with each other and you trust what we're doing, you know, you know how we feeling and you know how we're rolling and you know what's working. And like me being the catcher, I know what's working, and I never ask them how he's feeling. It's just like there's a rule: if you're a catcher, every time you ask a pitcher how he's feeling, he could have been giving up 10 home runs. He's always going to say, "Oh no, I'm good."
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So that was the first thing I stopped doing, probably very young. Just take control, as long as he trusts you. Just like pitchers as well. Like for being a catcher, you want them to want to throw to you too, which is a hard thing to teach. But being brothers, we were stuck with each other, so we just had to make it work because we weren't going to do anything else.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Any good disagreement stories? Because I know the O'Briens got in a fight with each other on the mound one night. So.
oh yeah, there's plenty of. But when he's definitely not going to throw a pitch, and I want it, and then I keep calling the same one. You call timeout, and he says yes when you walk out. Comes back, and he still throws the pitch, and he's crossed up. You know, win or lose the game.
Yeah.
And it's not like we don't talk to each other, but what do? The next game we still have to go throw against each other. So it's like disagreements don't get personal, but they get nasty. Quite laughable. So
yeah, for sure. So what was growing up, what was the landscape of ball like down in New Zealand when you were growing up?
Oh no, yeah, it was quite strong when we were younger in the 80s, etc. 80s and early 90s when we start to get, you know, into the age groups and the young teen age group teams and rep teams. It was the emergence of the Steve Jacksons, the Chub Tangaroas, Eddie Kalassi, a young Mark Sorensen's kind of dictated and was the superstars or the rock stars of New Zealand softball back then, you know. So that was, and in Auckland we had a lot of them, the Dean Rice, you know, the young Dion Nukunuku. So we had a lot of kind of like, what would you say, mentors or like sports heroes that we could follow and wanted to do the way they did because they were successful with the club teams, they were successful for the New Zealand team. So it was quite an easy pathway to say what they did was right. So that means it was the way to do it. And it was everywhere. You know, everywhere we looked, it was every game we played, it seemed like we were watching, you know, like rock stars and international players everywhere doing their thing.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Easy to be a fan on all the club. It was similar to like how over here playing in the ISCs and all the big tournaments, that's what it was like watching in New Zealand, which is it's hard to manufacture if you just don't have the kind of the characters in the game, which was more back then, especially. It's not so friendly. There was real rivalries and grown men playing ball, man. It was fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely. Sure. I mean, back in the heyday of ball, I mean, it was cutthroat. It really was. I mean,
oh God, yeah, it was. It was real life stuff too. That's what made it so exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Now, around what age was it when you started thinking, you know, quite serious about the game? Can you remember?
Well, probably 91, 92, because that was, for our age group, that was our under-19 World Series, was about to be named in 93. And that's when me and Heine have been, you know, successful Auckland teams, and we started winning some national championships. Like anything, you get that gradual persona of who's who and the next guys coming up, and that was probably when it did take it serious. But then that was the first time that I didn't even make a team, which was tiny. My brother made the juniors and I couldn't. Me and Donnie Hale couldn't even make the team.
Wow. So, holy God.
Yeah, that was when OBs, they came over. That's Heine played my brother, and there was obviously the Gus Edges and a few other guys they played against him. But yeah, me and Donnie were the ones that had to sit there, and Brad Rona didn't even get just. There were the three of the like standouts in my generation that we couldn't even cut.
Wow,
that's insane. That's insane to think about. Actually, wow.
Yeah. So, but no one never knows it because the year after, we started making them jump straight to the men's team, and I toured with the first New Zealand men's team in '95, which was the next time tour. So it's like you don't cut your teeth in the juniors. It's kind of like, well, you don't stop playing, just keep moving, and then hopefully it does happen if you do put the right work in, and then fortunately it does, and then you just got to make sure you hold on to it.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Now, before we jump into your ISC career, I gotta ask about your batting stance, because you know it's world renowned in our game for sure. How did you develop that stance?
Well, yeah, apart from being laughed at when I started it, in the early 90s, probably going into the juniors, that was the last. 93 was the last year I actually stayed like, what's it called? Probably textbook, you know, the straight on, a normal textbook batting style. But my biggest thing was I always stepped away in the bucket, no matter what. So I could hit anything inside, which is fine, but throw outside, because I started playing Open Men's Premier Softball from 91, 92 onwards with the Steve Jackson early and Chub Tangaroa and Eddie Kalasi. So I was like the young guy on the squad. So I could hit anyone that threw inside, but as soon as they threw outside, no chance. Just completely keep missing. So it was probably Eddie was the one to say, I've got to think of moving my feet, open up a little bit to make me step to the ball. And then, so that's where it all started. And then the more I opened it, the more powerful I got, because it was a little bit of a tongue-in-cheek comment, say, well, Mark Sorens is a catcher, so unless you're going to hit the ball over the park, if you're going to hit singles, no one's going to ever see it.
Right.
Everyone can catch, hit it, people will notice big hitters first, and if you catch it's a bonus. But, Mark Sorens being Mark Sorens, and it's like, oh, well. And if you're going to do something, I just don't want to half do it. So the more I gradually opened my stance up, and then in my first year in the States was 1994, I come and played in Iowa for a season, and then it just gradually morphed from there, because over here you come into like ISC and Travel League ball straight away. Pitches are just on you all the time, and singles don't really cut it. And if you're not making a dent, so the more I opened up, the harder I started to swing, etc. And then kind of morphed into the laughable stance that you know and love today, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So you find it easier to get to, like with that open stance, you find it easier to get to the outside pitch?
Yeah, because actually I stand so close to the plate anyway. So when I come round on the ball, my bat's covering the outside. But that's in part of that. That's probably one of the reasons that I actually get hit.
Yeah, I was going to say, you must have got pinned quite a bit.
Oh, a lot. Oh, I've got the record for it, literally. The most of all time and stuff, just because of where I stand in the box. Which is, it's a bonus. It's an on-base percentage, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. 100%.
Still on base in the newspaper.
That's it.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Man. Because I mean, as a pitcher, looking at a guy with such an open stance, in my head, I'm like, we'll throw outside on him. I mean, he's got such an open stance. Why wouldn't you try and keep it away from him? But
sure.
But like you said, stepping into the ball, you can cover the whole plate.
Yeah, and it's just with my stance, I start early in my movement, so I'll kind of use momentum to get to there, and then I'm a pretty much an all or nothing swing. So I can't check swing very well, which is, so I'm either swinging. I've only got 2 gears, go and whoa, that's it. No, maybe a look and work account. Oh no, there's none of that. That's why I'll never teach any kids to do. It's funny, we do clinics when I was with the Sox, and I'm one of the coaches on the coaching staff now. I stay away from all the hitting, because what can I teach them? Because it's quite bad habits, but the theory is right. But you don't tell people to stand, adjacent to the pitcher and just dive in and try to swing as hard as you can. It's just, each to their own. But
yeah, exactly.
There's good points and bad points like anything. But it's not like it's taken off. I'm still the only one.
Yeah, true enough. That's right.
Well, in fact, I was watching, I don't know if it was the Simcoe tournament with Hill or what it was, but there is a player that I thought maybe for circle tap that stands the same. He's totally left foot, right foot, and then approaches the plate. I can't remember who the guy's name was, but I just watched it. It was this year, in fact. And I thought he was friggin' a Kiwi, actually.
It was probably Paddy.
I don't think it was.
Yeah, because we were at Simcoe, because Sugatech wasn't, so it probably would have been me.
Oh, Jesus, maybe it was. I thought the guy had long hair, though, for some reason.
Yeah.
Oh no, that can't be me.
Okay,
maybe.
Anyway, Paddy, let's jump to your ISC career to date, because of course it's still going. How did the jump over the States take place?
In 2001 was my first, started coming over full time. That was, I missed out on the New Zealand men's team in 2000, which was a bit of a downer. And then, so I thought I wanted to change. And then my brother actually was playing over here for County Concrete back then. That's what it was called. And then, so I was kind of like, oh, well, I'm not really fussed. But he says, he told the sponsors, my brother catches me. This is kind of that weak story that a pitcher always tells a coach or a sponsor. And the coach goes, oh, great, one of those ones. He vouched for me to say, no, he's not bad and this and that. So then that was pretty much the choice. And then they got a hold of me, and I was like, I wasn't actually interested. I said, oh, no, I'm not fussed. And then they highly convinced me to come over for the last 5 weeks of the season. That was, 2000, which was long enough to get in there. And I said, okay, fine, I don't mind. I'll take a one-time 5-week softball holiday. I didn't think anything more of it. then from there, I came over, and first off, they didn't get over my batting stance, so they thought that was just a terrible joke. The first game I came into, I was standing ready to go, and then the pitcher wouldn't go. And the umpire was still going, when you're ready? I says, I'm ready. I'm go now. And they go, but you're not ready. I said, no. It was like a 30-second debate on no, go pitch. And they said, well, no, you can't. And I was like, oh no. And then slowly it got known that that's how I stand, and because no one had seen it before.
Right.
Really couldn't, it's like, why is he doing it? So, and then good fortune happened that I went quite well, maybe because I didn't see me and the pitchers didn't know how to throw. I just looked funny, and then just kept, ran into a few balls that, hit a few guys pretty well. And then from there, they wanted me to come back. And, it's one of those, you plan to go for 1 week or 5 weeks, and then it looks like, 13, 14 years later, you're still doing it.
Yeah.
So,
wow, that's awesome.
That's crazy.
Man.
Do you remember what that first impression was of, the U.S. lifestyle? Because, we've heard stories from other guests on here, they went over to the U.S. to play for the summer, and it's a little bit of a adjustment for them.
Oh, no, yeah, it was. It was a bit of not like a shock, but a real wake up to, for me, it was like, it shows how small coming from New Zealand is compared to going to the States, how everything is bigger in the States, and the lifestyle is just so, it's like consumer friendly, it's easy to be a fan of something. And
yeah.
They do everything big, and they're not shy to put a lot of effort into even the smallest tournament to the middle of nowhere is like the biggest tournament you can think of. Just the way they run it, and they look after each other, and they have a lot of followers. Every softball town has a loyal following. So it was not like you're playing in the middle of nowhere in front of nobody. It was like, wow, it showed how much they love the sport, which was a big thing. Softball was easy to play in, like in say Auckland, New Zealand, and in normal cities, but when you come to small town Americas where softball thrived as well back then as well, it's like it's as big as you want to make it.
Yeah, that's right.
And they love it just as much as anything else. So that was the biggest thing. It made me want to love the sport more, right, and made me come back, because I thought, I'm just going to come over one time, and that was my thing. I wasn't worried about where I was going, but to come back here, I enjoyed coming and playing here, feeling how they love the sport so much, made me want to keep doing it here, and hoping it would bleed into coming back to New Zealand and feeling the same way then too.
Right.
That's awesome.
Right on.
Yeah.
Now that first ISC World Tournament in 2001 down in Eau Claire, nothing like coming to do your first one and grabbing an all world selection, but what do you recall about that first one?
Oh, no, the first one, that was talking about eye-opening, because I hadn't been to a World Series, I hadn't been to anything like that. Fortunately, I've toured with the New Zealand men's team a few times, for the off-season tours and stuff, but to see how everyone talks about how the ISC is the show of fast pitch softball, and lived up to the hype, especially Eau Claire, probably my top 3 places to play on the planet, because it's a beautiful diamond. Wisconsin, love the cheese curds, and alcohol's cheap. So
is it ever?
Oh man, isn't it? So,
yeah.
And then we're playing in our first game, because we were lowly ranked. We're playing the defending champs, the Decatur Pride, which is Darren Zach and I can't remember the other one, Michael White, I think, and wasn't playing that one.
Not too bad pitchers, what?
Yeah, too bad. Which I knew who they were, but I don't think he wasn't pitching against us. But we upset and beat them. And our team and the Wisconsin people were jumping up and down like we'd won the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, that was the first biggest fond memory of my first ISC.
Wow, that's cool.
How you knock over defending champs, a no-name team, and it was just the whole crowd, just the whole 5,000 people watching. Just it was felt like a rock star.
Yeah.
And then from there, we had a bit of a good momentum run, and then we finished top 8, and then I kept swinging the bat, and then I didn't even know that they had an all-world team, because we played and it was awesome, and I never even thought I was coming back. It was just like I was happy just to give everything I wanted while I was there, enjoy it. And then I was sitting there and I was having drinks, and I was talking to someone, and they tapped me on the shoulder and told me, you got to go out in the field. I go, oh no, what have I done now? And they were saying, oh, an all-world selection. So I just ran out not knowing what it was really, and then the guys are yelling at me, and as soon as I come back in after getting the all-world play, that was it. I was like Elvis. I was like, oh, Jesus Christ. Now they all know who I am.
So that guy with the open batting stance is pretty good.
Can he sing, though?
Oh, yeah, probably later that night. I was probably a little bit, I bet.
Oh, shit. That's awesome. No, so let's jump to the 2005 season. You'd capture your first of 4 ISC World Titles against the Farm, again, in Eau Claire. How special was that first one?
Oh, man, it's because we were part of the probably one of the strongest, arguably one of the strongest teams ever assembled, which is no disrespect to the teams before us in the decades of the Peeing Paws and the Cars and the Great Gators, but like for our era or generation, there's a lot of Kiwis put in that team. It was kind of like a super team, it was nice, but then you become loved and hated for the reason of being that kind of team.
Yeah.
To win the first one, and that was my first ring of any. That was my first ISC ring. It was like, man, it's hard to believe that every team and sponsor, because it was the first for the whole setup, sponsors and, and the team and a lot of the Kiwis. So and every team and sponsor dreams of doing it, and he'd been in the game 20 years before that, and to have a chance to actually be in a position to say you might and to actually pull it off. Oh man, it's one of those when you win it, and then a few of us Kiwis and we tell each other as soon as we got to the point where it was close, and then we started getting right to the outs, and then we started telling each other, don't forget what this feels like, especially 2 outs right to the end, and then and we were in the bat and we were down by 3, and then we pulled it off, and that was one of those you want that 1 minute to last.
Yeah.
Will be frozen, and then it was just like. But the biggest thing is you see how much the sponsors and they're grateful of what we do for them, but then in repayment as well, that they're happy that they not made the right choice, but you put the effort in to show that why it's all worth it. That's why any sport and any team, and that's what every ISC team and sponsor chases.
Yeah.
So it's nothing. You can win 1, you can win 10, but to get your first is always special because it's always someone's first. Like
yeah,
that's
right.
5, 6, 7, or 3 or 4, but you play for your. I always pick out the guys who've never won at first and play for their one, because you know what your first felt like,
right?
Like bawling eyes out, and it's one of those guys. Funny guys they don't cry at a wedding, they don't cry at the first birthday of a child, but they'll cry when they win a play championship.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's for guys, it's not like you don't tell it to the wife. But
no, Jesus. Yeah,
God, no.
We may edit that part out in case anyone's listening.
Good. Edit that one. Edit that one. So, dreams come true, and then you don't worry about. Then it takes you, and then you're allowed to take a day off. Because you've got a lot of training and hard work, and so the next day off. And that's one of those times that you can just finally relax. There's no stress of it, and enjoy it, and then comes a week later, guess what? We've got to go do it all over again.
Yeah.
And the whole build-up goes on. But that's the responsibility of, being in a position that you can go for it or you want to try it, because once you start going for it, it's up to you to keep going for it. Like sponsors, once they dip their foot in the water and they get the taste of it, they can't go back. They can't not try. So, but
Love it.
That had to be quite an atmosphere, especially playing against the Farm in Wisconsin. 2 Wisconsin teams.
Oh, yeah, it was Wisconsin teams, and there was a Kiwi and 2 in the Farm team as well, and it was a kind of strong rivalry and stuff. And it was a like not a love-hate, but a real strong respect.
Yeah.
There was no like beef between us. It was like, if you got your best, we'll bring our best. We'll see how it goes.
Right.
But Wisconsin, like saying being in Eau Claire too, because it was quite proud for them, because every place likes to be the hotbed of softball kind of thing.
Yes.
But when you have both finalists in Wisconsin holding the final, and one of the teams going to win, it's like good verification of saying that the softball is strong, and it makes the travel league strong, and that's kind of like why players want to come to that area, and it's just a big, like a roll-on effect to keep it going. So it was awesome.
No, of course, you'd play another few seasons in Wisconsin, win another world title the following year. What are some of the memorable moments that stick out to you from your time there?
The cheese, he said.
Oh, the cheese, yeah.
The cheese and the $1.25 beers.
Yeah.
And the beers, yeah. Come on, Randy.
Yeah, I'll edit. It will edit that, please.
Yeah.
The probably the big fun moment, obviously winning your first, because it's like you never know you get it. But to the first of my back-to-backs, that was hard, because every team you win it, and then it's like the target's on your back, and we didn't change much. You might have picked up 1 or 2 different players, and it's like you got to run it back. And you think winning your first one's hard, and they say that's so hard to get your first one. But to repeat it, and there's a few teams that obviously repeat it, they'd probably notice it. It's twice as hard to do it because they expect someone to knock you off because there's always someone coming.
Yep.
You know, so you got to be twice as ready to prove it again. That we're not just, we're not the best. We try to be undisputed, which is, and that's the responsibility of being that team. And that was the biggest. It was a lot more relief the second one, even though it was lucky. It actually was an easier win. Not saying the team was easy, but we had an easier, more luck. The scoreboard dictated that we a little bit ran away with it a little bit, but because the last one was a real fight. Mm-hmm. But the relief of doing it again and that's great in a sense. But the sad part about that is that when Tim Sonnentag and the Sontag family chose to say that they're done now, they proved it and they put a stamp on it, and they said that was the end of them. So It was nice to go out with them, but it's a sad as well. But it's like verification because you got to. The one thing I do is you respect the sponsors. Every sponsor puts a lot of time and resources into it for no real payback. Right. So if they choose that they can go out, you respect that. And it looks like any sponsor, when you win or you lose it, they're still choosing to do it. So you can't take them for granted and stuff. So you thank them and do that. So it's the only thing you can do to repay them back. And so that was a nice thing for the 06. It was a nice saying thank you to them because they said it at the end, but there was no hard feelings. Yes, we would have liked to keep going. They said we could have. If we stuck together, could we have gone through? But when sometimes enough's enough, and when you're proving it, because it takes a lot to keep going, especially he'd already put 20 years prior. So he was taking the final big swing at it at the end of his tenure as a sponsor. So so that was a nice, because it was nice to close a chapter on a team in a good way, because so many times it always someone ends bad or angry. It's nice that you can go out on a good note, because in saying that, sometimes like county, which is the softball, it was nice to know that the last time we played the county was the last time they proved that they were still top of the mountain.
Right,
so it's a nice way to keep remembering it.
Yeah, for sure. Now, you talked a lot about the sponsors of the team and how much they put into it. I just thought of this, what they bring over, 4 or 5 Kiwis, few Aussies, like this is different teams. What, for the summer, what, in between weekends, what are you guys doing in between weekends?
Generally, we usually try and play like a travel league. Like last night we played a double header every Tuesday to keep our swings in. Because usually if we're playing each weekend, it's usually you have Monday you're coming back, you're kind of resting up. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, it's usually we're playing a game. You always get into a league, or you're basically joining a gym, or we're doing training. If you're lucky to have a few in the same team in the same house or the setup where you are, then you got to go do a training, because say the bigger the teams or the players, it's your responsibility to always be ready to play. There's no excuses. We come all the way over, the Aussies, RGs, Kiwis. You can't not be ready come the weekend, because that's when we're there. That's our whole sole purpose. So,
that's why you're there.
That's why you're there. So it's usually a smart thing, and it's quite inbred in all of them. Everyone knows the responsibility you're coming over. So by right, you don't just sleep it away and live in a bar during the week, because you get found out. And that's where it comes with like players. Some players come and go, by their own default, but the ones who stick it in and last, because like sponsors is a big thing. I always think of it, because there's no games without the sponsors.
No, right.
For the top level, yes, you can do the local guys, which is great, but the sponsors, when they really want to go for it, you're always going to have a little bit of a international flavor brought in, no matter what.
Right.
They mostly and then so for them, if you don't treat them right, that you don't expect to get a free handout, but they see value in just being ready to go and always in shape to do it. They don't guarantee a win in that, but that's good value. That's all you can ask for, And if you can't value yourself as a person saying yes to get flown over and they looking after you, well, you better. That's how the only way you can repay them back is always being ready,
right?
Without even saying, "Are you playing well?" or "You're the hottest hitter," or "You play." At least you can. That's the least you can do. So.
Well, it's your profession while you're over here.
Yeah.
For all of you guys. Yeah.
Why not? You don't come all this way to just get a suntan.
Yeah, and drink $1.25 beers.
Oh, wow.
Well, you can.
I mean, you can have a couple.
Just 1 or 20. That's it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, Paddy, you'd make the jump over to the Kitchener River Shark Twins, where you'd win 2 more world titles. Talk about your time with them, because I mean, you guys had some really good teams there.
Oh no, yeah, it was one of those when the county finished, and then I spent 1 year with the Gremlins, Broken Bay Gremlins under Doc Simmons, and then that kind of it panned out good, but it wasn't like, it was not stuck together, but it wasn't a real permanent landing spot for like everyone. He stayed in for a little bit, but for me, I just kind of got not an offer, but I got an opportunity to step away from playing with any other Kiwi. That was the big thing, because it was nice to play with county and with the Gremlins. It's like you can go with another bunch of Kiwis and not hide behind each other, but you just use each other to get
Right.
where you need to go, and it's a safe way to stay on top kind of thing. And then I thought, no, I'm going to make the choice, and I had an opportunity to walk away. And then it was a big kind of a blend of 2 teams, and there was a lot of moving parts with prawn system and stuff. And then they thought I was one of the missing pieces. So they in all fairness, they weren't really excited about them bringing me in, because they had to get rid of a lot of their best close teammates for the prawn rules, and a lot of Canadians. It was all Canadians, 1 American, and just me.
Wow.
So there was no red carpet rolled out at the start. I had to earn their trust, because they thought I was still a Kiwi playing with them, and they're thinking I was, and then it's like anything. I knew that because I had a lot of rivalries with like Jody Ide and Ryan Walker for the Canadian and New Zealand thing, and we went at each other, and it's not like there was no secret that we weren't fans of each other. But after we started playing together, and you go through the feeling out process, and I proved that I was one of them. It was the best softball move I ever made. Like, I love playing with the Kiwis in county, but I'd still say now, like meeting Larry Lynch and a lot of lifelong friends, it was the best thing I did in softball, going playing with the Canadian guys. It was, it's a different way of playing, but it was like they saw how loyal I was to them, which opened their eyes to what the other Kiwis looked like. Because for a while, the Kiwis were quite looked upon as standoffish and like money grabbers and just there to win and not make friends. But then they found out we go to war on the field, but off the field we're just big softies.
Yeah.
We just love to be part of it. And then me being part of them, and the Canadian boys took me in, Todd Martin and Wolfie and Hawk and all the coaches. And then, that was the best thing. And it was nice because we didn't start off great as a team, because there was a lot of guys that they thought were past it and they're trying too hard. And then the chemistry is what got us through. But those 2-3 years is that how we started getting really well. And then from there, closest friends. Canadians, and I'll never take it back. So you don't never pick it like that, because I thought, oh no, I'll see how it goes. But after that, oh man, best thing I ever did.
Yeah, because I mean, in 2008, you guys beat you guys beat Dino in Saskatoon, was it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kimberley.
Yeah, and then Dino joined you guys in 2009.
Yeah, and it was his only ever world title he got, which was nice. It was one of those played for the first, and he was a great friend.
Yeah.
In 2001, in my very first year, he was actually the pitcher for our county concrete team.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and then he shot off to the farm. He kind of made his own path and became a big time sought after player, and did that. But it took him, and it was funny because we come back together. We always were close, and he says, "Oh, I've waited 10, 15 years to catch you beat Paddy," and then we win it together. And it was, you see a big guy like that start blubbering and crying after he wins one. It still shows it's why you.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, that's so freaking awesome. Yeah.
I know.
Oh yeah.
Well, I had to laugh when we had him on here that he thanked Todd Martin for faking the injury so he could get into the game and finish her off.
That's right.
He still says that.
Yeah.
Because Todd he never wanted to come off.
Oh God, no.
No.
Oh God, no. He had to pull him off. It was like that. Dino it was a final. It was like for him to have his crack as his day, it was a real tight game against a strong Patsy's team.
Yeah.
But it was part of the chemistry side. We bring him in, and then it was a good full payback of putting a good bunch of guys together and just really loving what we did, because we were kind of on the older side of it. So we were too old to run around and chase the fast game. We just hated losing more than they did.
Yeah.
And we just we just went old school and beat them the old fashioned way, which is a straight up. We're not hiding from anyone and just try to just muscle them out. And Dino was a great addition because he was probably one of the most strongest players around, with the bat and the ball and his demeanor and everything. So he kept those even, but he's probably one of the funniest guys in softball. His jokes are so bad, they're laughable.
That's awesome. Actually, the funny thing is, when I was looking at that 2009 ISC, like, usually when a team wins the ISC Worlds, there's a pitcher on the All World team, but
it's not there
that year. Yeah. Which Dino got an MVP, but he wasn't on as a All World pitcher, which kind of struck me kind of funny. But the funny thing is, you look at the team you beat in the finals, and they had Cheese and Adam. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah,
I know that. Yeah, it was one. It was. They went in on the high road basically because they were the next big thing to really, it looked like they should win it. It was like we were playing, and we knew that we weren't not worried, but we weren't worried about how it looks. We just went to play. If our best was good enough, then we'll have it. But we weren't going to let in just because they're the new kids on the block and they're the young, the big powerhouse. So to beat them, it's one of those. It's not overlooked, but a lot of teams forget that the River Sharks. We were there for 3 to 5 years, and we made 3 IC finals. But sometimes they say, "Oh, we not lucky," but they didn't realize we actually had to beat the Cheese and Folkart combo, which never was together again. It was that.
That's right.
They were just too busy booked to take it. So, it was a good time. That was for sure. It was a great one. That one.
Yeah, no doubt. Love that. Now, before we jump over to the national team, of course, we got to talk about your 2019 ISC Hall of Fame induction. Just how special was it to get word that you'd be going in?
Oh yeah, no, it was surprising, because I played and had good success, but you don't think that it warrants being recognized by the whole board and the people who look after the history of the game. You always hope that you make an impact, but to put actually like a bit of a fingerprint on how you played, put added value to the game overall, and to go down and like in the history book named with other great players. It's something that I never thought I would do, because I didn't play to chase numbers. I played to chase ring, and regardless how it was done, I didn't have to be the best hitter. I didn't have to be the best anything. I just wanted to be the best teammate. If I could get the other guys playing, and sometimes that works, like the chemistry, but to be actually named and do it, it was quite, I was taken back because, there's big names. In there, and then I played with big names. That was half the reason I was lucky enough to be on some successful teams. It's not because I was the big name. I played with far superior players alongside me, which made it easy to just join in. And I had a few big moments, but I only got the moments because the players that I was playing with made them possible to be in those positions. But to be named, I was a little speechless, because it humbled you a little bit, because I'm a little outspoken kind of person, but actually when you're being placed that quite high up in the sport itself, well, you never really know what to say.
Right.
A big thank you, and grateful that you kind of just being remembered that you were here for a time that you were a part of it. They actually recognized that you were seen as one of the players that that people took notice and they liked and they enjoyed you being part of it.
Right. Now, when they when they do your player announcements for at bats for ISCs now, do they say ISC Hall of Famer?
No, because half the people don't remember. Half the players don't know. No. Actually, it's a bit of a family reunion for the last few weeks. I've been coming back, and a few of the people and some of the umpires that are still playing are happy to see me back. But it's like 10 years has gone quickly. It seems. Because people have whole career within 10 years, And
yeah, exactly.
How great is that, though? I mean, to go back and rekindle memories.
Oh no, it's geez. I'm 47. For anyone to play a sport come over here to actually be brought back again, and I'm fortunate that I was in a position that made it able for me to still be part of a team as a player, and to contribute and stuff. But you never think that you're getting a do-over, but the best part of it this time is I've got no pressure it's nice that they see me, and sometimes people talk to me as they talked to me 10 years ago. And I'm not saying I can't be the same player, but I'm not. But now I'm playing with the freedom that I've got nothing to prove. I'm just trying to help other people get on their way, especially for the 3 Kiwis that I bought from this team myself too, because if everyone needs a hand to get their start, and I got help along my way. So, but they're coming back here and playing with the freedom to, of course, I want to come out and still show that I can still be one of the top players.
Yep.
But it's making the team, the guys around you better too, because I'm help building a new team, and between everyone buying me too many beers, and they're not cheap in Canada, you know.
No, they're not.
You know, it's great to have a second chance to come over, and there's no, you know, hardly this ever happened. Come over this time and do it a decade later to come back and set foot, and people still remember you. That was nice, especially it's all the older people that nice remember me, but it's great to see people that you never thought you'd see again, because sometimes you have to leave a lot behind when you're a Kiwi playing over here. So sometimes you say goodbye to your closest friends when you play, but it's hard to say you'll ever see them again. So I'm actually fortunate to just have another time just to let people tell me how great I was and buy me expensive drinks.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's so awesome. Let's jump to your time with the national team and your time with the Black Sox. What was that feeling like the first time you donned that uniform back in 1995? Because I mean that had to be quite a special feeling.
Oh no, yeah, it is. Like for like the national team, that was even before I was worrying about overseas and ISC. It's one of those. Say like if you play rugby for the New Zealand, like the All Blacks, it's to be even named to be put in. It's a lot of, like, every national team for every country has a lot of history and legacy that goes with it. And so it was one of those, you get named and you're really just hoping that you're able to keep the whole, uphold the quality and the level of what the team stands for. That was a big thing. It's just like national teams. It's a lot of pride. It's different to coming over and playing in the States when it's like your team sponsors and it's a job, and same with the national team, but it's a lot more, pulls on the heartstrings a lot more, and you know, and then your family knows, and because like say softball, it's funny that we're more, we can come over here and say I'm a Hall of Fame ISC, but and go back home and they wouldn't know what ISC is. They just knew that I played for New Zealand, but they wouldn't even know that different side over here. So you get two sides of the story of that. Over there, they know everything you do playing for New Zealand, so it's more of a pride, loyalty, and what's, you know, the pull on the heartstring side of it, and you never want to let you down, because the people that watch you when you play for your country is more family oriented. So everyone knows you personally when you play for your country. That's when you play. That's who you basically start playing for them. So yeah, it was powerful. Like everyone would say, their first time, you know, half the time you're nervous, you barely remember your first game, and you just try not to screw up, and you just hope you get another time and, you know, improve on it and hold on to it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now that for the first number of years, you had to play behind Mark. I mean, what was the mindset for you, you know, early on with your time with the Black Sox?
Oh, yeah, early on, you knew Mark, he was the benchmark, you know, and so it's not like I was never trying to compete against him. I just had to make a dent in how I played, because that's why I changed my batting style you got to make an impact.
Right.
To hold the spot, you know, and I wasn't trying to be Mark. I didn't know if I was actually going to be a catcher to stay there, because if it was so sewn up, you know, you'd do anything to be in the team. And sometimes teams will pick batters first, then they put you in the field. So then all I did was try to put up good numbers and show that I belonged.
Right.
And then I had to not wait, but then I hoped that I could firstly be his backup, but then push my way into being one of the hitters too, and then from there push out the old fella eventually. But you know, at the start, you know, you just hope you're just good enough to be in the squad all the time, and then you just wait your chance. But for me, I had to just personally, I made sure I tried to just make a dent with the bat, because I knew I could catch, but he had that, which is sometimes you have to just realize, he's going to be the catcher.
Yeah.
So don't just try to be the best backup. So I just had to make an impact with the bat, and and that's basically what kind of kept me there. And for a start, at least they knew what I was doing, because I was the guy that stood funny.
Yeah.
Straight away, they kind of knew where I was.
Well, I mean, obviously, you played yourself into the DH role in 2004, and you guys won the World Cup on home soil. I mean, talk about that tournament and just how special it was.
Oh, that was massive. That was probably, again, one of the arguably one of the most powerful Black Sox team, you know, performance, and the personnel and that, but to do it at home too, because that was my first one. Talking about the pressure of the loyalty and playing for your family, and to show them how good you were. That was it. It's like we proved it with ourselves with all that training and our team chemistry and everything else. And by that time, I was been coming to the States a few years, so I was playing a lot of teammates that I had overseas anyway. So that wasn't the surprise part. It was just, is your best good enough? So that, and put your best foot forward and being at home. And it was fun because a lot of the guys we were playing together as well for the Sox were and coming to the States. It's like we all really actually we all got hot together for 1 week. And to say that happens it doesn't hardly ever happen. Everyone was on. And so, and it was dominant. And then we did play a strong Canadian because they came out and hung 5-6 runs or 4, 5, 6 runs on us in the first 2 innings, so they weren't going to take that. Was Obi and Jody, and by them they still hated us. So it's not like we were buying each other beers after either.
Yeah.
So and to pull it out, so that was a real, not solidified, but that kind of just guaranteed that our hard work does pay off.
Yeah.
And it showed that we're worth the time put in, and it showed that we can. Before that, because that was before I had an ISC, championship. So it showed that if we can beat them here, that shows we're good enough to be there and we'll be close.
Yeah.
And so, and doing it for New Zealand, everyone, the family's crying, and it gives you notoriety. And then for a lot of guys too that weren't starting, it kind of leapfrogged them into getting an easy foothold to get overseas. So it was kind of a bit of a 2-for-1. If you play well for your country, basically a phone call's not far away to getting a chance to come over to the States and maybe get an ISC as well, because between ISF and ISC, they're the 2 big dogs. And there was that old question back then is what do you hold higher in regard? And sometimes you'd be flipping. Say at one stage I was saying, ISC is higher than ISF, and then some years ISF is worth more than ISC. Mm-hmm. So if you can be part of both of them, wow, that's literally a dream come true. And again, if you can win both of them, man, that's something you hardly ever think you can do. But if you have the chance, you can't shy away from it. You just got to lose, win big and lose big. Just don't half try it. You're either all in or you're all out.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, I got to ask about hitting home run in the finals against Canada, because you tied the game at 3 in the second there. That I imagine that's one you're not going to forget.
Oh no, because Moosey, he was hitting me too during the season, for the last 2 seasons in the States. and the high drop ball and the bloody changeup. So the one time I just had to sit on the change, and then it was one of those all or nothing. It's for me doing like in the final, it was one of those do it now or never kind of at bat. You've got to trust the plan you're going in. We face each other a lot, so it's always what he's going to come with. Until you hit it, he's going to keep throwing it. And then, it's and then to hit a home run too, because all you're trying to do is make contact. You just don't want to be that guy that just gets struck out, and forgettable in a final. You always want to make a good showing in a final, and to hit one out too. Well, but it's kind of world famous in my own head. Sometimes it's like, wow, it's one of those special moments because it's the first final I ever made, and then I was fortunate to have a home run in it. So
not bad.
I was really happy. I don't think Moosey was.
No, probably not.
No.
I don't blame him either. But that's the knife edge of you either the highs and the lows all in one game in one pitch.
Yeah. But you did it again in 2015 in the finals at home, of course. I'm guessing you like playing at home on the big stage.
Well, yeah, being at home, I like to be. It's like I try to be comfortable wherever I am, but like for finals, it's like it's always hard to say be the Sunday hitter in it. But all that is, I'm not scared to take big out, to be a big out in the final. I'm either going all in or all out. So say if I'm getting a good swing on a pitch, I'm not there for singles. I'm just trying to air it out. So if it happens, it happens. But I just try not to miss. Why kind of pull it back in and be more careful just because you made the final?
Right.
If you're on a roll, just keep going, because I'm lucky that I was lucky to hit a few home runs in a few finals, because I just wasn't scared of striking out. That's basically it, because in a final, a pitcher is supposed to be that good. Someone's got to strike out and someone's got to get the hit. So just be that guy that's not scared of either. Just if you're good enough, you're good enough, because in the end, you'd rather have the chance than never have the chance. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Man, that's a great approach. I mean, that's a good way to look at it for sure. So, I mean, what was the atmosphere like to play in there, like at such a big stage with those ISFs?
Oh, yeah, it's like the closer you get to, like, say, if you go to a Major League Baseball game, it's like the Major League of softball, especially you're at home. ISC, it's just like being at the home, it's like the host team at an ISC. It's like packed stadium and everyone knows you. So for an ISF, you're at home, so you're playing in front of everyone in your family and everyone's family in the same team. So you're playing for a couple hundred people that know you personally, you know. So all they want to do is see you do well.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those, you can't be shy. You can't shy away from it. It's the responsibility of being in that team, isn't it? If you want to be that player and be in that team, then you got to know what you're there for. So it's just like in ISCs and all ISF. You got to know, you got to talk about you're going to win a ring. And some people will say, oh, don't talk about it. Well, if you don't know what you're going to win, how are you going to win it?
Yeah,
true. Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if you don't know your ring size before the tournament, well, you're not going to ever know it because you're never going to get a ring.
That's right. I love that.
You've got to be ready for it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like playing at home. It's like, they always want to see you win and win big.
Yeah.
So why not? You know, and they're not going to hate you if you fall over trying. So yeah, that's how I am. You're better off trying as hard as you can, even if you fail, because if it does come off, you won it how you wanted to win it, and that's how that's how I like to do it. Why not? And hitting home runs is a bonus, but it just showed that you're just not scared of it. Why not? And no one will say that a bad approach, because they wish, sometimes you wish you could be that guy. You watch another person play and they're just going off and smashing the ball, and they're the ones who go, man, I wish I could do it like that.
Yeah.
And you just want to be that guy sometimes. And the only ones, when you're not scared and you're playing fearless and free, that's when it happens. That's how I believe it, you know. So
yeah, very good approach. Such a good approach. Now, of course, you'll get back in that environment again, starting November 26th, as this time part of the coaching staff with the Black Sox. How excited are you and the boys to be hosting such a huge event again?
Yeah, it's quite exciting, because it's a bit of a bit of a redemption scenario. You know, the Black Sox, not unfortunately, just by the sports, the power changes, the power shifts, and the thing, we're not at where we'd like to be, or as strong as we'd like to be. You know, we dropped down the ladder a little bit more than we'd like to. But that's just what you put in is what you get out, you know. So, and every time it always goes in waves. So we just got to get back on there. The exciting part is if we can pull it off, then the hard work is, you know, because the extra hard work we're putting in just to be close again is all going to be worth it. So, and for like me being on the coaching staff too, it's nice to right now be a player with some of the guys that are going to be in the squad that's named. And it's funny because I'm a teammate to some of them now, but I'll be actually a coach to some of them later. But I just hope that they want, you know, you just want to make the impact that, you know, they're excited to be part of it and they're happy that I'm a part of it with them, regardless if I'm playing or coaching, you know, because you want to play for your coaches, but you want to know that your coaches are backing and want you to play for them as well. So, and like this, and like young team, this is another scenario of young team, they can't be scared of it, you know, because if you go into your shell, you're going to get the same result. You've got to be able to push the envelope a little bit and show them how good you are. And if it's not good enough, well, it shows how much work you got to do. You can't hide from it, because especially being at home again, nowhere to hide. Everyone wants us to do well and do better, so they have to accept it. And that's part of the coaching stuff. We're going to make them aware of, soak it in, enjoy it, because it's better to be here having the chance to be that team to bring it back, better than not putting your best foot forward and not being part of it. You know, no one will want to be that, and then that's up to the player and the players and themselves. If they want to put the effort and put the best foot forward, they have a chance and the responsibility to help the legacy of the Sox that was, you know, how powerful we have been in the past, to help right the wrongs and bring us back close to the top of where we hope to be, because that's a great part. That's a great responsibility to be part of, and then no one will be disappointed. And if it comes off, if it doesn't, if we put the best effort in and show that that's the best we got.
Yeah, so, for sure. And actually, I just thought of this, like the fact that you're over here playing again, you're going to get a great vantage point as far as scouting goes, as far as, you know, your competition. as like guys that you guys are going to be playing against. So, I mean, like from a coaching perspective, this is very good for you guys.
Oh no, yeah, it is. It is a plus, you know, and it's not a secret that every team and every player and every coach and whatever, where you go, always are trying to scout and always trying to get better. So then, it quite rightly so. Yeah, I'm actually facing some of the international pitches that will be there, so I will know how they go about their business, what they want. So it's all information gathered, you know. But in the same sense, they're still playing against players over here from New Zealand. So whatever they see against them, I see their strengths and weaknesses, and by rightly so, they'll know our strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah,
so it's not like someone's got the upper hand. It's just like if we find out something, they'll find out something on us as well. It's like if they know what we know, then it's just who can be better again.
That's right.
And that's it. It's not like a secret squirrel and sign stealing and you know, COVID operations. It's like, no, it's up front. If I got something I beat on you, you know.
Sounds kind of cool if it was COVID operations.
I know it would be cool. It's good for the technology. It'll make picking signs way easier.
Yeah.
So how did the coaching gig come about, Paddy?
Well, after 19, like I walked away from the sport in 13 and probably good 4 or 5 years, never even watched a game, nothing. I put the family time in. I did my run and I was happy just to I was content in what I did. And then 19 came along and I got pulled back in with back into the sport a little bit and sit through New Zealand Soccer. They knew that I was coming over. And the year before, in 18 or 17, I actually got inducted into the New Zealand Soccer Hall of Fame, which was quite nice. Which I never
That's right,
thought.
yes.
That was out of the blue. But then, and they always try to keep tabs to see if I was interested in coming back before that. And I was like, no, I put so much time into when I was playing. Now it's time to put back in family, etc. But then 19 onwards, I came over and then I was actually happy to start helping other players get back over here a little bit. And then I took the time into getting back and seeing a few guys and coming around a few softball games. And then, you miss it when you're here. It was easy not to miss it when I didn't show up for anything. And then, a few people, noticed I was coming around and then coaching scenarios came about. And at the start, before I became the battery coach, one of the assistants, I was actually asked to be a selector, which was like a behind the scenes, just passively trying to, I suppose, coax me into getting back into it a little bit. So I agreed to I can help out, advise on who I thought would be good to look at from the New Zealand point of view and just, give Brutus and the guys some tips and my opinions. And then from there, it just morphed into Jimmy Wano was stepping down to the battery coach. And then there was I kind of got duped into saying, oh, guess what? You're not just a selector anymore, which is they were happy to. And by that time, I've already invested the time back into the sport again. So I got the bug, like you could say. And then from there, I'm knee deep in it again.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's awesome. Well, as we wind down here, a little thing we like to end the podcast with, we call it player association. I'm gonna throw out some names to you, and if you have a story on them, let her fly, or say something good about them. If you have something bad, let that fly as well. Anyway,
is this going to be edited?
Oh yeah,
well, possibly.
Yeah. Anyway, first one on the docket here is Don Tricker.
Oh, he's probably the most simply smart guy I've actually had to play under. He keeps it really simple, but sometimes he speaks on another level, but he can make you feel like you figured it out yourself. He's good like that. Yeah, he's so smart. He acts dumb sometimes. He's great. He's great.
Yeah, we had him on the podcast here, and I mean, it was like some of the stuff he was saying. We were just like, wow. Like now we understand why you're in the position you're in.
Yeah. Next level stuff sometimes, but he doesn't push it on in any way. He's quite passive about how he goes about it, and then it's like, wow, he's legit.
Yeah, for sure. Next up is Z-Man, Darren Zach.
I loved catching him for a few years, and he's probably he taught me how to just play with the freedom of not worrying about the result, and because he loved it so much. So he's all heart.
Mm-hmm.
He is basically the heartbeat of Canadian softball. You think of Darren Zach, and there's not a bad thing you can say about what he's done for the sport, and he's done everything he can. But yeah, he teaches people stuff that you don't even know he's teaching you. Mm-hmm. You walk away and a day later you feel like, this, I didn't know I knew that, because he was just putting it to you in the way that you thought wow, it can be that simple. So, he's absolute legend.
Right on. Two more here. Next up is friend of the podcast and the guy who helped set this interview up, Billy Hillhouse.
Yeah, he made us put him on, by the
way. How much did that cost you?
Nothing.
Just kidding. Billy's great.
Yeah, no, Billy's awesome. Yeah, I played with Billy in the early 90s. He spent a lot of time, probably everyone would know, back in New Zealand, Auckland. He played under my uncle who played for New Zealand. And I caught him, and he's a great guy. Good. He just loves the sport, doesn't he? And he likes to see. Yeah, and he likes to see other people do well in it too, and he's always out there to be helpful to everyone, and I love Billy for that. And he helped my brother. I think he helped Heine get over to the States after his junior World Series and stuff. So he helped out more people than he actually know, because he's not one to just tell you his whole CV of who he helped and who he put in the right direction and advice he give, and he's another guy that just doesn't push it on everyone, because he's way more knowledgeable than he pulls on, because he's the biggest goofball, but he's probably the smartest goofball I know in softball.
What a great way to put it.
So you guys are laughing because you go, that's probably right.
That's right.
Man, I got Billy. I'm in contact with him all the time, and I mean, he's set up a lot of great guests for me, and he's continuing to do so, not just on the men's side, but the women's side as well. Yeah. And I'm forever grateful for him for doing it. So,
he's that guy that you can ask, do you have a number for this person? And if he doesn't, he knows someone who does.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he's that guy. Yep. Yeah. He's the guy behind the guy. Yeah.
Exactly.
He's that little black book. He's like the Fonz, the Fonz of softball.
He probably is.
Oh, God. Anyway, last on the list here, of course, is Brutus, Mark Sorensen.
Oh, he's the benchmark. That's how I'm a close friend of him, and it's hard not to admire how he paved the way for basically how us kids, started coming over and showing us how it's done and what it took to be. It's easy to be a fan of him being a Kiwi in New Zealand, but for people to actually be a fan of him overseas, to win them over and to respect how he played, his approach and professionality when he played was unmatched for a long time for any Kiwi player. So we kind of followed him a lot and stuff, and he's passed on a lot, and now he's the head coach of the Sox, and so he's always been that quiet leader, and it's always how he done it was the way to do it for a long time, and then that let us players after him pave our own ways and be our own, not stars, but stand on our own 2 feet in the game. Because myself as a pitcher, I didn't try to be Mark, I just tried to be me, but I would have never got here if it wasn't for players like him. He's, and everyone knows how he was as a player and his accolades and stuff, but he was quite instrumental in making sure New Zealand got strong. When he got strong, New Zealand got strong by helping people come over, and the ISCs itself too got strong, because the ISCs is a great way to have an international flavor of players all playing for the one thing. How else do you become teammates for 1 year, but you got to go play against each other in ISC for your own country? It happens through ISC. So it's powerful.
That's a great way to end the podcast, Paddy. Man, I got to thank you for coming on. This has been amazing, getting a chance to sit down and talk ball with you. You're a big part of the game, not only in New Zealand, but here in North America, across the world. So I wish you all the best at ISCs, of course, and, can't wait to see how you do.
Oh, that'll be a wait and see.
I'm sure you'll be fine.
I'll give it everything I got, and I'm glad that I came on this podcast. I'm glad to chat with you guys, and it's not often that ball players just get a chance just to talk ball, outside of a betting. It's nice, because I know there's a lot of people out there that don't get to the games as much as they want, but they'd love to hear anything they can about any softballs that they've followed and like to know, because it's nice to be a fan, but it's hard to say that you actually know how they think and what they like to think about when they're not on the field too. So this is a great thing that you guys are doing as well. So
absolutely.
Thanks again.
Oh, thank you guys too. It was awesome.
All right, Paddy. We'll be talking. Take care, pal.
Have a great summer, Paddy.
Okay then.
Take care.
You guys as well. I'll catch you guys later on.
All right. See you, man. All right, man.
That was awesome.
What we say it all the time, but man, the fact that we get to sit down and talk with these legends is friggin' awesome.
And they appreciate it too. Because like he said, you get to spread the softball world doesn't get to see everything that these guys have seen, obviously, and to hear their stories off the field and on the field, how they got there. I know, my biggest takeaway from that, and I don't know if you heard the same, but the training, the getting prepared, we're going for that. If you haven't gotten your ring size,
exactly,
shit like that, man, that sticks, and that's 100%. Super important. Yeah, I loved it. That was fantastic.
Yeah, that was great. And I just like hearing the side of the game, like you said, that the fans don't get to hear, and of course, we're fans of the game as well.
Oh God, yes.
And the fact that we get to hear that side, so I love hearing that shit. So
me too. Listen, I forgot to say something in the opening that I want to talk to you about too.
Oh,
this is a Jeff Frazier story.
Oh, okay.
So Jen Frazier works for a company that they had business that they had to go down to Milwaukee from here. So she went away for I don't know how many days it was, but she went to Milwaukee.
Wisconsin.
Yeah. Rented a car at the airport. Okay, of course. Went to Milwaukee, sat in on her meetings. It was lunchtime. I think this is how the story goes. So she said, well, I can drive. I have a rental. She gets in the car, and one of the people that she was traveling with said, you rented a Kia? And she was like, yeah. Well, haven't you heard of the Kia boys? And she was like, no. Well, there are a bunch of kids that go around stealing Kias in Milwaukee. She said, okay, well, I'm from Namaha River. I don't know what the fuck you're talking about, but that's not what she said, but that's what Jeff said. Yeah. So anyway, they go in for lunch. They come out from lunch. They go back to the office. She parks her Kia. And apparently the parking lot is under like surveillance. So the security guards and everything there.
Yeah.
So anyway, the security guards shooed these guys away from walking around the parking lot. Anyway, apparently when they went back, did up their paperwork, work was over. Jen came out. The Kia was gone.
Shut up.
Had it stolen. So when she went to the police station she had to report it or what have you, the cop said to her, she said it was a rental. And the cop said, the rental company gave you a fucking Kia in Milwaukee? So I looked at some stats. In 2021, there was over 10,000 Kias stolen in Milwaukee.
Why?
I don't know. And actually, if you go on YouTube, you can find these guys are going around stealing them, and then they just burn the shit out of them. It's nuts, man. Anyway, it has nothing to do with ball.
This is the weirdest outro ever.
Yeah, I was just thinking about Wisconsin, and I had to talk about because Jeff's so close to ball.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Kia boys.
Oh, I can't wait to see Frazier tomorrow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Anyway, aside from that, everything was great.
Oh, man. Anyway. Well, that was a great episode. Like I put on social media, we're going bi-weekly now for the rest of the summer because, I mean, summer is just...
It's too busy.
It's way too busy.
I have so much on the go, man.
That, even for me to do the girl side of the game, it's too much. It's just too much right now. Yeah. And
you know what, Randy, it's totally fine too. Like I think Lolly and Hilly had mentioned how they're doing it, and it's just too much to do it.
Yeah, it is. It's right great now. For you. I mean, after we're done ball season, of course.
After July August 39th.
July August, yes. But we'll go back to going weekly and getting those guests on, and of course showing the fans the side of the game. So again, another week.
Everybody be safe.
Everybody be safe. Have a great summer.
Yes,
even though we still have a lot left. But what a weird way to end this.
You're fucked. Okay.
All right.
Take care.
See you later. Bye. Classified.
Chasing the dragon till I get it, I know it well. We go day in, day out, living this like it's show and tell. Adrenaline pumping, accelerating through these late nights. Addicted to the rush that keeps us up in this insane life. Red lipstick, broken wine glass. Drink away the pain and blackout time lapse. Do it all again, get your lights up. Let them know you well known. A prisoner to our cell phone, that's why we call them cell phones. It's funny, ain't it? Obsessed with success, flying high from sugar cane. Fast food burger chain, can't break the routine. Leg day, filling up on protein and poutine. They say, get it done by all means, we all fiends. Pick your crutch, living in this big world on small screen. Sip your cup and play your odds. Put your dollar in the slot machine, scrub it till the pot is clean. Pick your poison, what's your addiction, huh? It's just another word, getting old. With nothing on you now, love. It's just another Catch a dragon, that's what they say. Sharp and mall surfer, spending every...
Are you downsizing? Maybe need more room because of additions to the family, or possibly seeking that dream home you've always wanted? Well, Tim Eisner at Royal LePage Atlantic is the guy for you. With a proven track record and multiple awards, Tim goes above and beyond to find out your needs and exactly what you're looking for. So if you're seeking a new home or trying to sell your current one, contact Tim at 902-499-5717 or check him out on Facebook at Tim Eisner. Again, that's 902-499-5717. Trust me, when all is said and done, we'll be saying Tim Eisner strikes again.